Hello everybody and welcome back to Middle-earth and our 4th Age Total War campaign as the barbarian hordes of North Rhun. In the last episode, which was the first episode in the series, we hoarded up, we left our homelands far in the east here, and we journeyed north into the frozen waste above the Iron Hills. We came down, we have 3 stacks outside of the dwarven settlement of Barz. In a few turns, they're going to have to either sally out or accept their fate and starve to death in their holes. We did take City of Dale in the last episode as well. This is our only current settlement that we own, meaning we have completed one of the 3 settlement options that we will have, and we still have quite a few horde units in our various armies across the map. We also did a bit of sacking in the last episode. We sacked Esgaroth, we sacked Hjorth, and what we did there by taking those 2 and Dale as well is we have effectively cut the faction of Dale, the Kingdom of Dale, in half. They do own Framsburg off here into the west, and they own the settlements of Eodor and Bern, as well as this fort, but that is it. And although Eodor certainly looks like it has a lot of units, once we get our spy over here and take a closer look, we can see that they are really not that much to worry about, in my opinion. Mostly the Tier 1 Barding militia, with some of these Tier 2 Dale Watch. There are a few longbowmen scattered around and a few odd cavalry units, but I don't think they will really have the economy to support much more than that. And I'm happy to leave them here for now as a buffer between other factions. As we can see, Dorwinion has been expanding here. This purple territory here started off in the hands of the faction of Rovanion, which is sort of an orangey color. But as we did in the first episode, we gave some of our lands away to Dorwinion rather than just let them rebel. We figured we may as well, cause some chaos in the balance of power in the east by ensuring that one of the smaller factions gets possession of these lands, and they have certainly run with that. So they are currently, let's check their diplomacy, in fact, and see what they're up to. I guess they're at war with Rovanion. Actually, they're not. They have managed to stop that war somehow. Rovanian's not at war with anybody currently. They're allied with the dwarves and the Bjornings, and Dorwinion is allied with the dwarves too, so that must have brought their ceasefire. So very interesting stuff. There's going to be a nice balance, I think, in this territory, which is going to be very good for us. A couple of big problems coming up. A couple of big problems. Problem number 1 is economy. If we take a look here, we are slated to lose 5,400 every turn. We've got 19,000 in the treasury currently, but 4 turns down the line, that's going to be in the negatives. And all we can do right now is either continue sacking or do a little bit of building. So I'm going to do this. We're going to need to do our Dominion buildings anyway. Outland Dominion is the first building that's going to allow us to, well, build other things, but it also is going to bring some economy along with it. So this is going to give us a land tax income of 2,000 a turn, which is very nice. That does not make up for the 5,000 that we're losing, but I imagine that we're going to be looting and destroying some buildings in Arabor and in Barz. So the hope is that that stuff will balance out. We, of course, do have to start paying upkeep for our units, and unfortunately, we just got a bunch of people coming of age. I think all 3 of these guys came of age, and we got a marriage offer in the same turn. So the good thing about having lots of family members when you are sort of at this very precarious moment of settling down as a horde faction is that these guys will not go away. So they are a sort of a reliable unit that you can use to garrison things and also just to use in combat. The nice functionality of having a cavalry unit in North Rhune's case with some javelin support and a unit that can just regenerate its losses over time, that's really helpful. But of course the downside is that upkeep cost, right? We're going to have to be paying upkeep for all of these guys, and we will want to go to a more efficient solution at some point. So the plan here for the dwarves is to wait for them to sally or to determine if we need to assault. And I'm not sure what's going to cause us to assault here. Maybe just fear of losing all of that cash will drive us to make a move here sooner rather than later. But otherwise, we'll just be ending the season and seeing what happens. Well, here we go. This is a momentous turn. We've only got 1 season left for the surrender of Barz, and we are now at the point where 1 more season is going to bring us into the red for income. So let's end the season and see what the dwarves do, if we'll have to fight or if we'll just get it. And we'll just get it. Okay, fantastic. Now, it's not worthwhile to lay desolate. As you can see, that's only going to make us 7 Mirian, and so we'll just occupy as a result there. Wow, okay, so we didn't have to fight for it. That makes it good for us. Okay, the elves want trade, and I think we really need some trade income to help us out. If we don't share a border with them just now, we will very soon. So I'm going to ask for a little money for this trade rights. This is something that you can pretty much guarantee if you do share a border, but I guess we don't in this case. So we're just going to go ahead and accept. I don't know if that's going to make a difference just yet. Once we start getting trade income, it certainly will. Now, the unfortunate thing about taking these settlements as an occupier, again, is that it means each time we do so, we're going to lose a substantial body of troops to garrison. You can see that everyone who was involved in the army here is gone. We lost all of those units. And so I guess what's happening is we're just losing the horde units who are directly involved in the siege, and others who are even in the province, even just one tile away, are not withdrawn. So that's actually kind of great for us. We really need some population in here just for public order purposes. So let's see what we can get away with in terms of numbers. We also actually will want to choose a really good governor, and we have lots of family members to choose from. So he's inept governor. Let's find someone else. What are you? Competent. That could be good. And you are competent and the heir. So having a high authority is going to be good for public order, I believe. Yeah, so I think that's what we want to do. We'll go with the heir. He is not as good as a leader or a governor as this guy is in terms of his overall skill, but I think in the long run he's going to be better. Expert commander, though, it does feel like a bit of a shame to leave him here, but we'll leave him in Barz Doom. We'll get you out of here, and now we'll bring in some population. So, what are we up to in terms of public order when we do this? 70. Okay, so that's right on the border. And we are losing population is the other thing. So, as this decreases, our public order is relatively going to increase. I think we can therefore go with just one more unit of mountain warband. There we go. And that's only going to improve over time. And now we can see what we can loot, because the dwarves have left some very nice stuff for us. Hosting halls. So this is one of their military buildings. We don't need that. So now we're back in the black with 500 Mirian to our name. And we have some other things. Okay, dwarven construction. This is sort of a... it's an alignment-related building, culture-specific. So it's nothing we're benefiting from, and we're going to want to destroy that for sure. That's going to be another 3,000. Perfect. Some of these other buildings, too, are useful for us. So the waypost is going to increase trade. There is an upkeep cost associated with it, but I think it's better to leave it for now. Trade houses are another really good option for us. They're going to increase tradable goods, but because we have a managed population here, they also have this effect of increasing the population growth. So we definitely want to keep that. We'll get rid of the Homeland Dominion for sure, but let's see what else. Ah, yes, we have 2 dwarf hordes. Now, these buildings are identical. They increase trade. They do have a public order penalty associated with them, apparently because all of that treasure is sort of corrupting. But because we are so hurt for money, I think this is the barbarian thing to do, right? We're not going to sit on a horde. We are going to plunder that thing. So let's go ahead and get both of those taken right out of there. And what else? One more building we need to destroy, and of course, it's the Homeland Dominion. Again, this is the one that we need to build our own version of in order to really integrate the territory into our own rule. And this is the prerequisite for all other buildings we're going to build. As it says here, if you're not playing as the dwarves, you should destroy it. So we'll destroy that, and our building options are going to change. All those building options that you saw here before I destroyed that Dominion building, by the way, those were all, I mean, technically buildable. But if you sort of looked at them more closely, you would see that the costs would be extremely high. The time for building those buildings would be also very high, and I don't think they'd really have any effects anyway. So you definitely want to go this route. Now, you'll also note that I'm keeping my taxes on low, not only because of public order reasons, but because of population growth. I want to make sure that my cities are going to grow, that they're not going to get down too low in terms of population, because we do want to train men out of here. Let's actually take a look at what we can get in terms of our military development at our first dwarven province of Barz in the Iron Hills. So Tier 1 control posts are going to provide us with hillmen levies. This is 100 men, which is great for garrison, and upkeep is 100 for 100 men. So 1 Mirian per guy, you can't beat that. We will go ahead and train a bunch of them up just for holding these very secure places like the Iron Hills. At Tier 2, we're going to get another local levy type, Hillmen Axe Levies. This is a very cool unit. I love the unit card for them. And I also like that they have a missile attack. So they have an axe that they wield in melee, and they've got a couple of throwing axes too. So that is a 10 missile attack, and they've got a decent defense. No war cry or anything, but this is a great little unit, and I just love getting into dwarven country with sort of a savage Easterling tribe, and then training a bunch of hillmen out of the region of the mountains there. And finally, at the 3rd tier, we're going to get some really interesting stuff. We're going to get some basic Tier 1 units for us. We're going to get our native mountain warband and our native Easterling skirmishes, but the real prestige unit here in Dwarven lands is going to be, yes, the Easterling axe hurlers. So compared to the Hillmen axe levies, these guys have the same missile attack, much higher defense. And what's the melee attack? Oh, the melee attack is the same. But as you can tell, this is a unit with armor, with a big shield, with a sword for melee and throwing axes for ranged. Just a great, great little unit. These guys do have war cry, so that's going to increase their melee attack for something like 30 seconds after that's activated. Just a fantastic unit. So I really can't wait to get to this point. It's going to take a while before we can actually get the population up to where we can train them. At least that's in my experience. But while we wait, I'm going to go ahead and train an emissary here, because in these settlements where we've taken land from the dwarves, in my experience, the dwarves tend to try to bribe those places back. So we're going to make sure they have a harder time doing that, because not only do we have our family member here, but we're also going to have an emissary. And the AI seems to have a hard time bribing agents as part of settlements or armies. So agents are a good security if you don't want to be bribed. Okay, well, that gives me hope that we might be able to pull this off. We've got 44,000 in the bank. Of course, we're spending all of it that we can at the moment, and we are still losing, 2,800 or so. We're going to be losing, it'll be more like 5,000 again pretty soon. But 3 seasons, and our Outland Dominion will be done. Well, Dale has decided to take another shot at getting their homeland back. This is a pretty small army, and they did bring the ruler, actually. So this is 46 rather tough units. They've got a decent amount of archers, and so this is going to be slightly tricky, I guess, because they've parked themselves right on this crossing. Now, what I could do, I guess I could just sally out from the city. But this army is not ideal for facing, a lot of archers. And I'd prefer not to lose all of these units because they're the only garrison I'm going to have for quite some time, these non-horde units. So I will, I think, hit them from the back with this army. But let's check the other news first. Rovanian and Adunabar are at war, so that's probably not going to go well for Rovanian. We've got our emissaries in a couple of places, yes, and we're still doing fairly well in terms of money. At least we did get to... Oh, no, we're not quite finished yet. 2 more seasons for Outland Dominion, and then that'll be ready to go. But let's continue moving some of these troops down west and then south before I forget. I think we may need to thin out the ranks of these forces. So let's bring our horde army up. Where's a likely place? I guess like on top of this hill, if it is the top of the hill. You never exactly know with Rome Total War, but let's go like there. It's a ridge anyway. And we'll bring up this army behind as reinforcements. I should be a little more careful with them, though. Yeah, that is a bit of a problem, because if they march around... Well, I will worry about that later. We've got a few units for Barz to keep the public order up, so hopefully that'll be sufficient. And let's attack Dale. Okay, as I kind of half thought, they're going to fall back. So let's do this. Let's actually move this army over here. And we're going to get them queued up to attack these folks, just to make sure that they're feeling sufficiently threatened. Well, you know, I think we have a nice opportunity here. It is winter, and we do have a nice stack well within reach of this full stack host of the Kingdom of Dale. They don't have a family member leading them. This is just led by a Lieutenant Brud, and I think we can do a lot of damage to them. Maybe this army isn't perfect for what we're facing here, but let's jump into it anyway. Now, all of these units, with the exception of the family members, are going to disappear as soon as we settle in Arabor. So we may as well, you know, make the most of them. At the same time, these family members are also going to regenerate. So, you know, I think we might just be okay with this one. Let's go ahead and make sure they're all off skirmish mode. We've got one unit of cav that's not a bodyguard. Okay, I guess that's fine, with the exception that I do like my slingers to be out front. So we'll just change that up. Otherwise, we've got skirmishers in the front line. Some big axes as well back there. Maybe we should change that, but honestly, it's probably fine. It's probably fine. We'll just group all this up. And I suspect they're going to be somewhere up on this hill in the woods. Oh, no, they're not. Okay. Well, you never know, so it's probably better to be cautious. I'll get down about here, actually. We will probably be able to hit them with our slings. So let's run, everybody. And as soon as we start firing on them, they will want to come and engage us. All right, there are some longbows right down there, and they're going to make our first target for the slings, which is perfect. Yes, we're already, like, cutting them down. Look at that. Down to half. And these are the units you want to focus on when you're playing as North Rhun. And because look, they know exactly what to do. They're going right for my great axes. Okay, well, I'll let this stand for a little while because we're doing a lot of damage to them. So let's hit these two units together. We'll get some friendly fire or some fire on both of them simultaneously. Get rid of our slings. Or get rid of all the ammunition in our slings, and then we'll move down the hill through the trees. Okay, that's going to be just about all of it. A couple more shots. Now, they may have another unit of longbows somewhere, maybe in the back, maybe they're keeping it in reserve, maybe it's over in the trees, but we may not have seen the last of them. However, what we have seen, I think, for a long time anyway, is the last of their black spear units. We took out a couple of them in the previous episode when we were fighting for Dale itself, and I don't see any of them in this army, so hopefully we won't have to face them for quite some time. Alright, if they're going to move up, we are in range to start skirmishing at them with our javelin throwers. See, they get some cavalry trying to work our way around the right. Oh, this is just going to be very, very good for us. Okay, so let's get our axemen ready. War crying. We should have done this a little bit sooner. The AI cavalry is always much faster than I expect. And we did, in fact, take a little too long to get our skirmishes out of there. That's sort of just a fact of life when you're playing, when I'm playing at any rate. Alright, we're going to get our horde spearmen of Rhun into the melee with these Dale mounted watch, I guess. So this is a good unit, but in a straight up melee, they're not going to do all that well, honestly. Okay, let's get our bodyguard around here. I think we should be pretty good. I think, yes, we've used all of the javelins. So we'll hit the Dale Watch in the back through the trees. This is a sword unit, so they're not going to hold up too well against cav, especially from the back. Let's go ahead and get some other attack orders in place. And let's run these units down the hill. May as well use our left wing of cav too. I'm not being particularly cautious with my family members either, because they are going to be a major source of cost for upkeep in the years to come. Okay, here we go. We can now bring you around to the Dale Watch. Let's run you around to the right. War cry with you. Send you down there. All right, war cry both of these units and send them up here into the mob of Dale units. Now we are attacking uphill. I think we'll be just fine though. Let's get the general down a little closer. Banda of the Tribe of the Dark Forest. All right, here come our great axemen. We're going to start cutting down some horses. Very effective there. And here we're not quite as effective in dislodging these barding units, so maybe it's time to pull out these two family members, pull them back a little bit. And you, I think we want to war cry again. What's this? Barding militia. Okay, they're marching. They're trying to get away, I think. It looks like we're getting some withdraw orders. Alright, let's just throw the general into that Dale Watch in the middle. There's a big mass rout. Alright, and let's just pursue them because these are very low tier units that are trying to give an orderly retreat back to the edge of the battle map there. But I think if we just make contact with them, that may be the end. Alright, so yeah, let's use our bodyguard for that purpose actually. I know these are spear units, so we shouldn't maybe be risking tangling with them, but they're tier 1. And I think we'll be fine. Yeah, great axes are going to win here. Yes, and as soon as the cav gets close, it's going to push them into a rout. Right, keep up the pressure here. They're turning and holding a bit better. And there they go. Alright, I thought we could maybe take that and... Jeez. No, we're not going to get this unit, so I think that's the last one. As soon as they get off the field, what do we have? Just a few stragglers. Dale Watch over here. Alright, yeah, let's continue. We'll wrap this up and see you back in the campaign map. Very nice. So we get rid of the largest concentration of Dale's units. Now, they can still probably train some people out of Yodor. Let's just get our spy here to see what their population looks like. Yeah, 1,600. And they've gotten up to the second tier of military. So we can expect to see more of the Barding Militia and Dale Watch and, you know, these Longbowmen, the Dale Mounted Watch as well. Not the most intimidating stuff, but it is going to be annoying. There may be some large stacks they can throw together yet. What do they have here in Burn? Okay, there's a unit of Black Spears. And I don't suppose we can really see many of these units yet anyway. But Dale is now basically cornered to these two provinces as well as this. But before they attack us from Framsburg, they're going to need to take back the settlement of Hjorth. And I don't see any signs of them attempting that just yet. So any trouble from them, I expect is going to be a long way off. Let's bring these units down here. We could bottle up Yodor. But we do have to be very careful, right? Because we're going to lose these units in a couple of turns, and we're going to be left with vulnerable family members. Now, maybe that's not the worst thing in the world, because we've got lots of family members, and we don't need all of them. So we could, I guess, use them, just use them and abuse them while we have them. The only units we will have to defend ourselves are right here. So, as well as the ones that are in Dale currently. So maybe what we want to do... Let's bring this army back over here. So yeah, 2 seasons. We can get rid of the King of Dale. Right? We'll head over here. I want to keep everybody in the city of Dale. I'd rather send my expendable family members and these horses and so on after this force, because there are quite a few arrows that are going to be flying through the air, and we're going to lose some men to that general's bodyguard too. Otherwise... Let's do this. Let's train up another spy. The spy here has been doing his work anyway, because he's been capturing some Dale agents who have been trying to move through the land. So it's been good to have him here, but we'll train up another one and get him out looking at the surrounding region. Not seeing any dwarves making any attempts to get back their territories, but we do have to keep an eye out for emissaries who may try to bribe us. So what do we want to do with these guys? We want to move them out? You know, it might be good to put them into... where do they go? Once Arabor falls... Let's just leave them like here for now. Right on the borderline. I'll leave you back a little bit. Because, again, we want to try to preserve the men. But I think once Arabor falls, all the other units that are horde units are going to join the population of the region in which they are located. That's a guess. We'll have to see how it works out. So let's end the season. Got one more term here. Okay, trade rights from Rhun. I'm going to decline that. There's not really any reason to. Oh, actually, we do share a border. Yeah, they didn't waste time, did they? Wow, okay. As you can see from the mini-map, as we'll show you here, yes. Right to the east of the Iron Hills, the chiefdom of Rhun has moved straight up into the north. And they're probably attempting to take Foreign Hood. So this is the risk, right? I mean, you take North Rhun into a horde, and it saves you that very awkward early game because you've just got massive troops that no one can stand against. It's when you settle that is always the trickiest part. And what you may find is you're dealing with a giant faction to your east or to your other borders. I think, though, what we've got here is, we've got some very nice visibility. So the only way that Rhun could attack Barz Doom is they'll have to come through this pass, and they'll have to go all the way around here. So we'll have plenty of time to see them coming. 5 seasons. If we have cash still at that point, we can start building some barracks, and hopefully we'll have population to start, training some units. If not, we'll have to hold out for the strength of the dwarven walls to protect us. But yes, maybe we will go with trade with them, actually, because we can, it turns out. And just hope that we'll be able to get other units assembled. Speaking of which, we can start to do that at the city of Dale currently. So our control posts here, which we can build right now, are going to give us a levy unit, Barding Militia Levies. Now, we've just seen these guys in action for Dale, right? The Barding Militia unit. They're not too fantastic. Check out the number of soldiers, 90 men, upkeep 160. Now, the stats are better than what we saw for the Hillmen levies, but they're not, in my view, they're not that much better that we want to train a lot of them for garrison duty. We're probably going to have to train some because we won't have any other options. For a while anyway. At Tier 2, we're going to get some swordsmen. So we're going to start pressing these local Northmen into service for us, or maybe training our own men after the Barding Watch style. Tier 3, we're going to get some interesting stuff. So, of course, we're going to get our basic Tier 1 stuff, skirmishers and warband, but we're also going to get something of a specialization and assimilation unit, if you will. This is a very important unit for North Rhun in particular, Chief's Men. So this is a unit that is essentially more of a medium cavalry. They've got chainmail, they've got a lance, and they've got a shield. This is not a unit that is replicated anywhere else in your roster, and so you really want to make use of it when you get it. You can also train these units in other Northmen territories like Dorwinian's homelands. So if we were to have taken and held Belligant and trained that up to the highest level, we could get Chief's Men out of there as well. But it's nice to know that you can get them from Dale's territory or Dorwinian's territory or whoever's. So that's going to be really good for us because we don't have cavalry with that much staying power, right? So let's get right going on that control post. As you can see, though, Dale is it's a bit of a double-edged sword, right? Like you don't have any fantastic options in the early game as North Rhun, because what we could have done is this, right? Instead of going to take out the dwarves in Dale, we could have gone, let's say, south, right? We go south with our hordes, or even without the hordes, and we take out Dorwinian maybe. That's okay, but you're still vulnerable to your neighbors to the west and to the east, who are still more powerful than you, even once you've taken Belligant, which is a great city, but it's not enough to make you feel secure because you still have to defend this ridiculously long border over here and this very porous border to your west and north. And then, of course, Rovanian to your south and west as well. The other option, which is also fun, is to go for Rhun immediately with your hordes and just abandon the west and go straight to Rhun. The advantage to doing this is because this territory is going to count as either homelands or fiefdoms for you. I can't remember, but it's definitely going to be better than the outlands that we're dealing with here, right? If we go to our Outland Dominion building, this is an outland, right? This is not a place where we are very welcome, and that's the reason that our military recruitment is kind of as bad as it is, right? Because if this were a fiefdom, we would start getting our native stuff at tier 2 instead of at tier 3, and we would get better native stuff, and it would just be a better situation, right? So going to Rhun early on does have that advantage. The population likes you better, but it has another big disadvantage, right? For one, you're not going to be anywhere near this dwarven territory, and you're not going to be as wealthy as you are if you take Dale, Arabor, and Esgaroth and sort of build up that nice, secure income. So I like this option. We're gonna go with it, but we are living with the consequences of our actions in the sense that we're going to be facing a very large neighbor to the east. But before we forget, we've got one turn here before Arabor falls, one way or another, and this is our last chance to use all these horde units to take out the King of Dale. Let's see. He's not going to stand and fight, and we're not going to be able to reach him. I really miscalculated that. Well, I guess we're just going to have to deal with it some other way. So let's end the season and see what happens with Arabor. Wow, they didn't even bother. Okay. So, the dwarves have once again refused to fight back for Arabor. We're able to just occupy it without a single fight, and we've got, again, wow, we've got more men. We've got a bunch of men still left. Why is this? All right, I'm learning about horde mechanics here in a way that I haven't in quite some time. At one point, I must have known all of this information, but I apparently lost it. So we still have all of these horde units here, and all of these horde units here who are not involved with the siege at all. And we also even have some horde units in the city of Dale itself. So we've got a ton of units, which we're still not paying for. I mean, our economy has just managed to get above the negatives here. Wow. Okay, so things are looking a lot better. Now, I think we're gonna lose them at some point, right? We have to. We can't keep them for the entire game. But I guess what we'll do is this: we'll bring them back over here, and we'll use some of these units, obviously for garrison, but also we want to use some men to take a very, very nice settlement, easy to get, Esgaroth. So this, we saw it in the previous episode. It's filled with just longbowmen and some militia stuff. Not going to be too much of a problem here. We've got, what do we have? Barding militia and barding spearmen. Huh. Interesting. So this is a slightly better unit of the barding militia with armor, it looks like. But at any rate, we can definitely take it. So what we'll do here is I'll move this army back down. Let's move them into range, I guess. And let's see what we can get away with in terms of garrisoning Arabor. Let's see, we're going to go to low taxes. That's already 60%. And one more is going to get it into the blue. Okay, great. We'll get a scout going as well. Some of this unrest is probably all just your typical unrest of having an unhappy settlement that you've conquered. There may be a spy in here, but I think it unlikely, I guess, based on what I'm seeing there. Okay, so, and we can even retrain units because we've got all these things. This is fantastic. This worked out much better than I was thinking. So over here in Barz Doom, the Iron Hills, we've got 4 seasons for Outland Dominion there, and we've got 23,000 in the bank. I think we want to give Arabor the same treatment that we did Barz Doom. We're going to destroy the Dwarven engineering. We've got deep mines here. We've got a way station, which is a higher level building for trade, and we've got hosting halls here as well. exchange houses. Again, this is a good building, more trade and population growth. And here we've got 3 dwarf hordes. Oh, yeah. Okay. That gets 90,000. You feel a little bad, I guess, but no, we just struck it rich. We basically won the lottery here, and we're gonna go with it. Let's get rid of the Homeland Dominion. Let's go for provincial pacification, and we should have no trouble at all affording to build that. Okay, so let's send our forces right down to Esgaroth. We'll get there in a couple of turns. Maybe our armies will leave then. Maybe it takes a turn. Maybe like next turn they'll disappear. So in anticipation of that, let's move these men a little closer. Let's get them to trees, so maybe the enemy can't see exactly where we are. I'll move you right over. And I would like to take out this army because it's got the faction leader. Now, he's not very young anymore. We can't see how old he is precisely, but you can tell he's not going to be around forever. But more to the point, he's got just a bunch of units that I'd rather not have harassing me. Okay, fantastic though. We've got our 3 initial settlements, and we're about to take an easy 4th of Esgaroth. From here, we're probably just going to sit and build for a while, unless pressed by the other factions. Yodor is going to be another easy grab to take because it doesn't really border any other factions. We've got Bern to the south of it, and then to the east, technically, I guess, you've got the Eastern Wildlands, but it's this fort that you have to worry about. So we could take this and the fort, and we'd be all set for quite some time. We can then move back in, take our homelands, all the while building up our strength in these Dwarven and North Mannish settlements, and then start getting our native units back, right? And then see what Rhun has gotten up to. So it looks like Dorwinion, though, has taken the Northern Highlands, which I guess is good. It does maintain that balance of power, but they just can't hold on to this, and it seems like no one really wants to either. So this is, hopefully that'll be still around for us in a few years. Well, I think this makes a good point for us to maybe wrap up this episode, folks. Next time we're going to complete, maybe complete the settlement process here by taking Esgaroth, seeing what we have left for troops, and seeing what our building options are in all of these places. So far, I think this is a really good start to our North Rhun campaign, and in the episodes to come, we're going to be just securing our position, building up more forces, getting some of these exotic units, and then taking the fight back into the east, I think, to where we can really build up our winter empire. Until the next one, folks, take care.